Hello. Trading has closed on August the 19th, 2021. We always start with our disclaimer, then we go over our calls and make our predictions. This is my trading plan for tomorrow, Friday, August the 20th, 2021. Remember, I can be completely wrong and all trades should be at your own risk. Please follow the rules of my channel and tell your friends about it. Look for the pattern today. If you're really low, there it is. Tomorrow's pattern should also have the early low. We said there was a chance of a bounce, often starting but gapping over this high. But we gapped down smartly at the open. So even though we did close up, there was no call because the rule says if you gap sharply in the undesired direction, calls kill before the open. So there was no call today. We do get to cross a few targets off the list, 43.80.90, 43.72.50. We have to add one, 44.54.33. Technically, time doesn't run out until early tomorrow, but that's pretty far off. We're down to now one higher target and only 5 lower targets which haven't printed, and one of them is awfully close. I expect we'll see it before too much time passes. When we drop, we got a page 120 buy signal from my book. Called for a rally. Didn't say it had to start here. Didn't say it had to go this high. I don't think it was tradable from the long side myself. Didn't mean you couldn't go long based on other factors, but signal wasn't enough to go long, but it certainly was enough, I think, to close out any short on the big drop. Early on, we got a buy signal with an optional lower target. System doesn't say which comes first. We got the drop first, and even though the higher target was to overtake the high of the day, we did that. Later on, another drop in this bad market. System said it was false. We'd overtake this high, and we did. So that is all played out. It's just a reminder of what we said yesterday. Reminder, Norm Winsky has a video today, and my calls for the pattern of next week. Well, this is the wave count I'm using. I freely admit it's not the only count and might be wrong. I think once we undercut this low, it's going to be hard to argue with it. And right now, I think it's good enough to go with this as the main count. These are leftovers we will get rid of. I think it's far too speculative to count what's going on from the all-time high. Just too many ways to do it. But here's one count. You can have ABC for blue A. You can have ABC for A of blue B. A, B, C for B of blue B. And then ABC for C of blue B, and that completes the pattern. You'll notice in wave C that ABC, A and C are equal. If you take the height of wave black C, it's exactly equal to the height of black A. And if this is wave B down, A, B, C, you'll see the height of blue C of black B is exactly equal to the height of blue A of black B. So it might not be the only count, but it obeys all the rules. And if it's the right count, wave blue B is over. And then we're going to start a wave blue C down, somewhat comparable to wave blue A in many cases. We rallied all day long. Couldn't close over any of the intraday highs, despite the day-long rally. We didn't come close to overtaking any of yesterday's highs. So right now, this hasn't accomplished anything. If you have a day-long rally, you can't take out some prior highs with just filling space. Now what counts isn't today's close, it's tomorrow's open. So if we gap up and take these out, and this doesn't mean anything, the pattern's killed. But if we don't, I don't know how we'll open, but if we don't, it's a valid pattern for now. No matter how impulsive this thing looks, we have overlapped prior lows from the pattern. So while you can't be certain of the count, this looks like a three-wave structure. The whole thing is overlapping. I don't think it's an impulse. I think it's part of a corrective wave. And at some point, corrective waves retrace as a rule. Now we still have a volume spike, so you could have a bottom here. Someone actually pointed out correctly this isn't the height of some of the prior volume spikes. Before they had the E micro contract, I looked for 3 million shares, or 3 million contracts. But I think that you can't use the numbers you used to use because the E micro contract has taken some of the volume away from this contract. So there is a chance here. We still have the spike. We still have the McClellan oscillator under its lower Bollinger Band. I think it's notable that we didn't reverse through it today in spite of the rally. Volatility indices are over their upper Bollinger Bands. We reversed through it on the old VIX, but we couldn't hold it. So it didn't accomplish much. If we get these could all have a bounce, but I'm not really impressed by today's action. It really would take gapping up, taking out these highs promptly to convince me otherwise. Friday's pattern features a early low. It could still gap up. Typically, it's a rally day with a final hour high. Early weakness turns the table. We get to see more weakness, even if the rest of the day rallies. Today's day-long rally couldn't close over intraday highs, let alone any of yesterday's highs. As of now, it accomplished nothing. Of course, what counts isn't today's close, it's tomorrow's open. If we don't gap up, I think we'll see lower prices. I don't mean just a tick or two. Breadth deteriorated further on today's rally. Fewer stocks had favorable patterns after today's move than they did before. Decliners absolutely swamped advancers. But despite these many indicators being oversold or not, it's very negative action. Shouldn't be long before we see the decline resume, possibly as early as tomorrow. Bulls need to gap, promptly overtake today's high if the rallies to continue. When you get oversold at the end of a significant drop, it means the last of the amateurs is getting out. It means everybody just says, get me out regardless of the price. It's a sign of capitulation, and the oversold readings after a big drop can be a sign that the drop's over. But when you get oversold readings this early in the decline, within a few days of an all-time high, it doesn't mean everybody wants to get out at the bottom. It means everybody wants out at the top, and that's an ominous sign. So tomorrow's pattern is the early low. It's typically a rally day, but if we don't gap over this and those early weakness, and if there's early weakness, the next leg down should be starting, and that's today's call.